away from everything. Like where the simplest of things, ignites our excitement. Like they recently installed a traffic light in my village. Everybody was so excited about this traffic light. We're all taking photos with it. Oh my
So Zimbabwe is facing an economic crisis. According to the statistics that has been released or that were released by the Stat, a number of our counterparts have left this country in search of greener pastures, and most of these are young people. And young people in some spaces say that they have been failed, their dreams are dying. But the ruling Zanu PF and the youth that run with the ruling party, Zanu PF, led by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, don't see it that way. So on this, your favorite show, The Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, we discuss if this country is on the right path to deliver the dreams of the young people. Now join me, your host as usual, Dara B, after this break as we explore these issues. Now, welcome back, and thank you very much for joining me on this, The Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation. My name is Dara B, your host as usual. Now, this episode of this, The Free Talk, we'll be talking to the Zanu PF Youth Political Commissar. And he'll be talking to us about whether Zanu PF is delivering for the young people and what the young people's future is like in this country. Now, welcome, Kundishaya, and thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Comrade Dara, for inviting me to this interview.
Amazing. Now, I just want us, just in opening, Comrade Kundishaya, to tell us, in opening, is this country safe for the young people and is it delivering on their dreams?
Thank you so much. I must say that this country, under the leadership of Zanu PF, has always been the safest place for young people. If anything, I believe that Zanu PF has empowered young people more than any other political formation that you may think of world over. This can be substantiated by the fact that during the liberation struggle, I started there, it is the young people who were fighting at the front, and it is young people who were commanders as well. You know that even our President Emmerson Mnangagwa, was young during the liberation struggle. Even our then Commander Defense Forces, who is now the Vice President, was also young. And I think he was Commander, Brigadier, in 1980 when he was less than 30 years of age. You know, in 1980 when Cabinet was appointed, a number of youths were appointed into that Cabinet, including the then Vice President, Comrade Joyce Teorairo Pamjuru, among other things. And you know that coming to the early 90s, as was the major policy of Zanu PF to work towards black empowerment, black emancipation. That is when organizations like the AAG was established, and it was run by young persons, the likes of Wana Comrade Philip Chiangwa, Wana Superman Wanzira. A lot of young people were made millionaires by the policies of Zanu PF. So coming to this day, our government has done quite a lot to improve the welfare and the lives of young people. This includes, but not limited to, construction of universities. When we took independence in 1980, we had one university. It's now University of Zimbabwe. It was then University of Rhodesia. And at one point, it was University of Rhodesia in Nyasaland. It was one university for 3 countries. Northern Rhodesia, Zambia of today, present-day Zambia, Southern Rhodesia, present-day Zimbabwe, Nyasaland, present-day Malawi. So when you want to empower young persons, to create a safe environment for young persons, it means education must be a priority, because we need an educated society, an informed society. And from 1980 to date, the government of Zanu PF has constructed in excess of 14 state universities from one, and more than 10 private universities. Creation of an environment that enables education is a fundamental towards creating an environment that guarantees youth empowerment. We also constructed several number of primary schools, secondary schools, polytechnics, vocational training center, so that we impart skills and knowledge into the youth. So yeah, Zanu PF is creating the best environment for youth development world over.
Mm. So some would argue that this country has failed young people, and most young people in this country have no future. This is why many have left for South Africa, for the UK, to become care cleaners and other countries. What would you say to that?
You know, issues of migration are not central to what people think. You agree with me that Elon Musk is in the United States of America today, but he's from South Africa. When people move, they are attracted by quite a number of things. There are issues that move people. As you say, young people are moving out of the country. There are also young people who are coming into the country. If you go to universities like Africa University, there are quite a number of youths from other countries. After graduating, majority of them are not going back home because they see opportunities in Zimbabwe and other young persons. But I want to tell you that...
but if you are talking of migration, there's a difference between migration and mass migration, where you have more than 3 million moving out of their own country in a country of 16 million. I mean, that should show you a problem, doesn't it?
You know, it depends. It depends with your standpoint when you are analyzing such figures. Despite the fact that I may not agree totally with you in terms of the figure, but it depends with where you are standing.
No, it's not my figures. This is the Zimstat figures. So are you disputing government agency figures?
No, don't put the word government to try and manipulate my thoughts. I'm not here representing the government, by the way.
No, I'm asking you if you dispute that number. Are you disputing a Zimstat number? Because you don't make it mine.
No, don't put the word government as if I'm here to represent the government. I'm not here to represent the government. I'm representing the party, mainly the Youth League, and I have my thoughts that I'm going to explain now. What I'm saying is, you know, we have, if I ask you how many South Africa we have in Zimbabwe, are you aware of how many South Africans are in Zimbabwe right now? You don't know. If I ask you how many people from Nigeria are in Zimbabwe right now, you don't know. So if we are working with figures, we need to be practical and realistic. Figures goes hand in hand with comparative analysis. If we say there is mass exodus of citizens in Zimbabwe, and to tell you what, Zimbabwe is not even in the top 10 of countries that have mass emigration. In terms of figures, there is India, there is Russia, there is United States of America. If you go on Google, Zimbabwe is not even in top 10, let alone not in top 20. In fact, Zimbabwe is not in top 50. If you go top 50, you see countries like Peru. So we must not define exit of Zimbabweans as a mass when internationally recognized agencies are not even placing Zimbabwe in top 50. That's why I said it depends with your standpoint. But the other fact is that Zimbabweans are more skilled and well educated, that there's a high demand of workmanship from Zimbabwe across the world. And these Zimbabweans who are going out there, bulk of them are not there as servants. They're skilled personnel. If you go to South Africa, you take your statistics, you see who is chief executive officer, who is general manager, who is this, who is that, who is operation manager. You see that is Zimbabweans. So the fact that people are moving out of Zimbabwe is not because our economy is not performing well, but an individual should be able to compare. If you feel like you can have better life in America, you go to America. But remember, in America, there is somebody who feels that he can have a better life in Mozambique. If you go to to Robert Mugabe International Airport, you see foreigners coming to Zimbabwe. If you go to Brondo Hotel, you see the number of foreigners who are staying there. If you go to Cresta Masasa, you see number of foreigners. If you go to Rainbow Towers, they are coming because they know there are opportunities in Zimbabwe.
Kanisha, you're comparing businessmen and economic refugees. Now you have more than 3 million according to Zimstat, which is mandated to conduct a census, and is telling you the reason why they left. And the reason why they left is that after the university that you talk of, they have no future. They have no job opportunities in this country. In fact, our economy is now informalized.
Okay, of the 3 million people, is Strive Masiwa included or is not, according to the study that you read?
I'm talking you of economic refugees.
I need your answer.
Your issue is, the issue is economic refugees.
Listen, is Strive Masiwa included in the 3 million number? Are you sure he's not included?
What do you mean?
Because when you talk of people who are living in Zimbabwe, were they categorized? Did the report tell you of the number of business investors?
I mean, okay.
Listen to what you've said. Let me finish first.
The issue is for you to answer
questions. Let me finish first.
The issue is for you to answer questions.
Let me finish first. You said it to me. You said it to me.
I am asking you of something that is particular and real, right? Young people, after graduating, they're failing to get jobs in this economy. They are nurses. They are working as nurses.
Do you want me to respond now?
Yes. Can you respond on specific issues?
I have two issues here. You must not narrow down 3 million to young people as if there is also another figure of the above 35 who are going out of Zimbabwe. That's fact number one. So when we are analyzing a report, Comrade Blessed, when dealing with figures, we need to be factual. We don't just extract figures and throw them as if we are blind. I am asking you, if you believe the 3 million people are economic refugees, you have just corrected me to say that there's a difference between the business investors and economic refugees. Did the report also include the number of business investors who moved out of Zimbabwe? Did you read about that? If not, don't you think that 3 million as a number includes maybe all the Zimbabweans who are outside the country? If the number includes all, then we need to be factual. That's why I've asked you about Strive Masiwa. Why I pointed to Strive Masiwa? If Strive Masiwa is part of the 3 million, then it does not make sense to say there are 3 million Zimbabweans who are outside the country looking for greener pastures, when the other part of this said number, 3 million, are actually business investors who are making huge profits, who are growing out there. So when we talk about figures, we don't just throw them. We need to be factual.
Mr. Kanshaya, if you are talking about businessmen are always in and out of the country. You cannot talk about Strive Masiwa because Strive Masiwa is always in and out dealing with his business, right? You cannot call him an economic refugee.
No, he has not been.
We are talking about economic refugees here.
My question,
people who have left, according to the statistics, people who have
Did you read the war report?
Yes.
Did you read the war report?
People who have left Zimbabwe in search of greener pastures. This is the number that I'm giving you. Right? Why are they leaving Zimbabwe in their numbers if you're saying everything else is fine here? That is the question.
I have told you, I have responded to you, that when you move out of the country, you compare. That's why we have people from South Africa. I've asked you, do you know the number of South Africans who are in Zimbabwe right now?
We're discussing Zimbabwe.
No, we are not. We cannot discuss Zimbabwe in isolation. We are in a global village. When we are discussing issues, comrade, I heard you saying we also want to thank your partner, the Frederick Newman. It's not even Zimbabwean, it's German. But why they are partnering us? It's for the good cause. So when we are discussing issues, we don't narrow discussion to Zimbabwe because we need to convey. I've given you facts that Zimbabwe is not in the top 50 yenyika dzine vanhu vari kubuda
in search of greener pastures.
Whatever. When statistics are done, you don't say people who are going out to seek medical what we do.
No, but Zimstad actually did that.
Listen.
Yes, but
that's why I've asked you.
That's
why I've asked
those
you.
Elites
Of the 3 million
who go out of the country in search of medical tourism.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that we have Zimbabweans, business persons, who are out of Zimbabwe, who are living there? They are not coming back home. Maybe if they come back home, it's just a visit, just as those young people. You are saying, do you believe we have those people?
Yes, we do.
Are they included in the 3 million?
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, so now let's not work with 3 million. Because my assumption, what if I throw an assumption of saying 1.5 million of those people are not looking for greener pastures, they are business investors out there? How do you argue?
Do you believe that?
I do. I do. Yes.
And your conscience is clear when you say that.
This is not about conscience, this is about figures. Figures.
No, sometimes when you put figures, your conscience should be clear.
No, it's not
because
about...
if you throw figures and you know you're lying, your conscience will not be clear.
Look, when you work with figures, it's not about conscience. If you use conscience, you will say 1 + 1 is equals to 11. That's conscience and common sense. Figures...
If you use your conscience and you say 1 + 1 is equals to 11,
that's conscience now.
No,
your conscience
is
no standard.
No, conscience does.
Conscience is no standard.
Actually, conscience does.
Conscience and
I think that is the problem.
No.
Where we have political leaders who don't have a conscience, and they will say anything to please an audience without responding to critical issues that are affecting the people they lead.
Conscience and common
sense. Is that
sense,
not the problem?
Conscience and common sense do not have standard. That's why we put figures. That's why even after elections, we don't... ZEC does not use your conscience to conclude who won the election. We work with figures.
Maybe we need to understand what is conscience before we say common sense. Because common sense and conscience are two different things. They're totally two different things.
Look, when you work...
When I'm talking about conscience, is that when you say something in your heart of hearts and you actually believe it's not true, but you continue to say
it's the same.
Something in your conscience should tell you that I am straying.
Look, my brother, when you spoke about 3 million, that is not conscience. It's a figure.
It's a figure that I put there with a clean conscience because I know it's factual.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's not by conscience that Zimstats came up with 3 million as a number. Okay? It's after a research, data collection.
Let us move forward. There's serious underemployment in this country.
What do you mean by serious?
According to statistics,
yes,
the people in this country, it's about 93% of our population, for our young people, that are without jobs. Formal jobs, that is.
You know that 62% of our population are young persons?
Yes.
And the bulk of the 62% are between the age of 15 and 25. Do you know that? Do you agree with me?
That is not true.
We can check.
That is not true.
Bulk of the 62%.
That is not true.
If any one of us can do a simple Google, you see that bulk of the 62% are 15 to 25. It's factual. I can prove it to you now. The closest friend of ours is Google, and you have it there. Google. So, you see, the problem with figures, Comrade Dara, is that when you work with figures, you need to be realistic.
When we talk about unemployment, Mr. Kanshai, and we talk about percentages, we don't talk about people who cannot be employed. Because your logic is to say the other people who are unemployed are below the age of being employed.
That's not my logic.
So why are you bringing this?
That's not my logic.
So why are you bringing this?
No, don't.
I am saying to you here that 93% of employable Zimbabweans are without jobs in this country.
No, you said young persons.
Yes.
And
I'm talking about young people who are
to say the young person?
When we talk about employment, Mr. Kanshai, it should be logical. Let's not have an argument. Let us have an issue of placing facts before the table and justifying your position. Because if I'm talking about unemployment and employment, I am not including people who can't be employed.
Look,
so let us stick to that.
We are going back to the issue of common sense. What we do when we are having a discussion like this, we need to be figurative, we need to be factual, and lastly to be realistic. You get me? So if we work with these three, we can come out with proper numbers
What
of what we
I
need to
see
achieve.
is you trying to evade questions.
No, I'm not trying to evade questions.
Okay, so simple question. Let's go. Simple question here.
Yes.
93% of people in Zimbabwe are unemployed formally. They are without jobs. People who are leaving university today are not getting jobs. Those who are employed
That's why my problem
are poorly
starts
paid.
with you.
Yes.
If you say people who are leaving jobs today,
University, I said.
who are leaving universities today,
Yes.
are not employed.
Yes.
That's a lie. There are quite a number of people, graduates who are employed. What we need to discuss is that Zanu PF manifesto, our president promised to create jobs since he came to power in 2017. And here we want to be figurative, to analyze on whether it is true that he has created jobs or not. And it's very simple.
That is your question. My question is, people who are leaving university now, they're struggling to get jobs.
No,
they are not
that's
getting
a general
jobs.
statement, which is a lie.
So can
don't you have employees, graduate employees?
I am asking you.
Don't
to,
you have
I am
graduates?
asking
Don't
you.
you have graduates?
I am asking you to. I am asking you to respond to questions. Simple, right?
But
that,
I cannot respond to a question that is not factual. You cannot say people who are graduates.
If it's not if it's not factual, no. If it's not, if the question is not factual as you want to put it, if the question is not factual as you want to put it, just put it to me, the facts and figures.
Listen as I put the figures.
Yes, please do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There was there is these companies that are coming to Zimbabwe to establish. I'll give you an example of Peps. It's called Faran Beverages. Peps is currently employing 3,000 workers directly. That's number one. During the construction of housing units in Beitbridge, the government workers' housing units, 315 people were employed. As I am speaking right now, there are 574. These figures, when I live here, you Google so that you prove me wrong. As I'm speaking right now, there are 512 people that are employed at Baishangan Dam. You go to Kunz, others are employed. The construction industry alone in Zimbabwe to this day has created in excess of 63,000 jobs. And majority of the workers are young persons. If you are driving, going home, you see the road construction, it's young people who are employed there. The thing is that if we say we want to create 2 million jobs, it's not like there will be an advert in the newspaper of saying we are recruiting 2 million people. So if you say graduates are not getting jobs, we have graduates who are working. When we are doing a road, there's need for surveyor. There are quantity surveyors. There are civil engineers. Mines are opening. Gold mines, diamond mines, lithium mines, chrome mines. And there is need for metallurgists. Young people are there. You go to Zimplus, there are young people who are employed. Metallurgists, geologists, mining engineers. Quite a lot. What we should agree is that it is work in progress. For a very long time, we have had economic challenges that the president, Comrade Mnangagwa, is fixing today. How is he fixing? You cannot have jobs in a non-functional economy. But our economy is starting to function. For your own information, blessed, during the time of COVID-19, the president opened a medical gas manufacturing plant in Mtare that is producing at least 150 tons of medical gas per week, 600 tons per month, and Zimbabwe requires only 150 tons. So we are now exporting 450 tons of medical gas. Who is working there? Young persons drawn from all these universities. If you go to Harare Institute of Technology, they are now manufacturing the ventilators and quite a number of innovations from that side. So to say that, graduates are not finding jobs, it's a lie.
What percentage of the people who need jobs have been created?
On that one, I don't want to play with figures. I will end up lying. You and I doesn't even know how much gap was covered and how much
What
is
I
left.
know is that 93% of the people who need jobs.
When was the report produced?
This is a
When?
report. This is a report that is before the elections.
Before the elections?
Yes.
Was Arcadia mine open? But then,
how many jobs would you talk about at Arcadia?
let's say 100. Are you saying 100 is not a number?
I'm talking here in
Even
terms
if-
of percentage.
even if you
Because
say-
because
let's
it could
say-
be it is a drop in an ocean.
No. Blessed, that's why I've said you do not expect 2 million persons to be employed in a single day. If Acadia is employing 100, let's go to Kamativi. How many have been employed there? How many are employed? How many are employed in the Chirundu Harare Chirundu road? How many are employed in Mazowe road? How many are employed at the Nigi roads that are being constructed?
You have half of the people, or more than half of the people who are employed in Zimbabwe earning up below poverty datum line salaries, according to the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions.
So we have changed. Right? We have changed the subject, right?
I'm not changing.
Are we still discussing about employment, or we are now on the issue of salaries?
I'm giving you perspective here, right? I'm giving you perspective. You have 93% of the people who are not employed. They have no jobs, formal jobs. You have the 7% that is employed. Over 4% of them, right? They earn below poverty datum line salaries. And you are saying that this is the best country to be, where a single, an employed professional, a doctor at Parelinyatwa, for instance, can't even afford to get medical treatment at Parelinyatwa where he or she works.
The problem here,
tell me how that becomes an ideal. I want you to answer questions. Don't address me. Address the people of Zimbabwe. I want you to deal with the issue of how.
Blessed, you don't need to be an activist, but a journalist.
You also need to answer questions, not to attack journalists.
If you find yourself speaking more than me, it means that I'm now running the interview. You cease to be.
No. If you stop answering questions, I will not let you run around the interview. I've called you for an interview so that you answer questions. So please do answer the question. The question is for you.
You have come with figures. I want to deal with the figures, Blessed.
Deal with them.
Don't throw figures if you are not in a position to defend them. Because as it stands right now, you are not asking me questions. You are throwing issues. I don't know what the outcome of
okay, maybe let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay. Let me finish. It's for the people to judge me, not you. So you ask your question, I respond the way I feel is correct. It's for the people to judge. If you find yourself judging me, then you are no longer a journalist but an activist.
I'm not judging you. But
listen, it is for the people.
No, Mr. Kandishai, let us have rules on this interview, right? I asked you a question, you respond to your question, right?
The way I want, not the way you want.
Fine. As long as you are responding to the question.
No, I'm not addressing you.
I understand that. And
you give me a rule. This is my rule.
I give the rules.
No. You cannot give me rules.
I appreciate the fact that you would answer questions the manner in which you feel you should answer the question. That's fine. Yes. And I agree with it.
And you must
but as long as you are answering the question.
I don't have any problem.
That's beautiful. So now can you answer this question?
What is the question?
How does Zimbabwe become the ideal place for the youth, where 93% of the population that needs jobs doesn't have jobs at this point?
Thank you so much. I must admit that of late, we had very serious economic challenges. The industry was not functioning. At one point, it was totally shut. We did not even have the functional mining industry. After, the Zisco Steel had closed, these other big mines had closed. At one point, we had nothing. But now, a number of the mining companies that were closed has opened. Step by step. That's why the president says we are building brick by brick, brick upon brick. We move one step at a time. That's why I've given you statistics that can be proven. That at one point, we only had maybe a Delta Corporation as the only, company that drama drinks. But in the second dispensation, we now have Harare, which is employing more than 3,000 people. That's progress. Even here at HSTV, I used to come here. The number of people who are working here now, in the First Republic. So if you employ 2 people, we say 2 people, one of us, even if it's 0.0000, because even to win elections, you need 50% plus 1%. So if you say there are no jobs in Zimbabwe, my argument is very simple. I am saying we are now reviving the economy. The president is reviving the economy. That's why I've given you an example that the construction industry alone in Zimbabwe, you saw construction of Highlands Park. There were people employed there. It's created in excess of 55,000, maybe 60,000 to 63,000 Construction industry alone. We go to the manufacturing sector. We go to the mining industry, where these mines are opening each and every day. If one mine can open and employ 50 people, if you go to Gurue, there's a Eureka gold mine. It had closed. They reopened in 2018. And if you go there now, they're employing in excess of 400 workers. What does it mean? In the next 2-3 years, you see the number reducing. And we are even having people who are returning from the diaspora to come to Zimbabwe. Because besides the formal employment places, our government has created an environment for self-employed driven people to survive.
So when you walk into what used to be...
I haven't finished.
No,
you said I must.
Yes, I have.
Supplementary question you asked.
No, it's not about supplementary question, right? I have an opportunity. I have the prerogative to control the interview because we only have 1 hour. So if I leave you, we'll probably answer one question,
okay,
right? So if you walk into the town,
yes,
where we used to have topics, where we used to have big, the Greatermans and stuff like that, they are flea markets. Where you used to have First Street, you have people selling shoes on the street corners. And this is a sign in any environment of a dying economy. What is your view about that?
Business is competition, my brother. When we grew up, we used to have the buses like Chawasarira, quite a number of buses that are no longer existing. And there are new players in town. Even if you have topics closing and we have other people into the same business selling same products, it means that there's competition. And when you are outshined in business, you can close. That is not a sign of a dying economy, by the way. It is not even a sign of dying economy. Let me tell you.
Let us deal with issues so that you don't lose track. I'm sorry to disturb
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Thought there, but the people or the shops that used to operate topic articles, they used to take their fabric from Kadoma. Paper used to be manufactured at Kadoma, paper mills. Now, all of the shoes, clothes, toothpick are imported from China. The manufacturing industry in this country is dying. And you say that this is the best part of our lives from the First Republic to this.
Can I respond now?
Yes, sure, please.
Okay, thanks. I said at one point, our economy was totally shut. David Whitehead, the biggest fabric producer, was down.
It's still down.
Allow me to proceed. We had even our bread producing companies, at one point they closed. But now, do you know how much cotton we harvested last season? Obviously, you don't know.
What I know is Kotko has failed to pay the farmers $5 million United States dollars up to now.
That's another subject. Yeah. I asked you about, do you know how much cotton we harvested last season? If you don't know, you don't know. Don't throw another subject. Mm-hmm. Now, what it means is that we are now on the course of recovery. And manufacturing companies are opening and reopening. If you go to Mwenez, there's this company there that is producing a very good wine in Mwenez from Amapfura. And they're employing people. They are also, the community is also benefiting. Because community don't know Nonga Mapfura and then it's a pascal. In Mwenez, they're okay. If you go to Mzaraban, they are now manufacturing lotion in partnership with Bindra University by Shensama Sao. They are doing things. If you go to Mtoko, there's that plant tomatoes. It's functioning there. If you go to Wonde Valley, what I'm saying is we are on the course of recovery and we have made remarkable progress. When in around 2015, 2016, the shelves in our shops, it was 75% imports and 25% local products. If you go today, you will see that it's around 80 to 85% locally produced goods in these big shops.
Where do you get these figures? Your government,
no,
just recently. Government, I am talking about government because we are discussing government. You are talking on behalf of party, but we're discussing government.
It's okay.
Government recently actually lifted sanctions that it had put or controls that it had put in terms of imports of products because they was beginning to have a shortage to allow imports of products on our shelves.
Oh, thank you so much. You say the government recently lifted the ban
Yes.
because there was starting to be a shortage. And the shortage was addressed. In every economy, listen, blessed, in every economy, economic policies are not rigid. They are not stuck.
I'm challenging your figure.
Listen, let me justify the figure. Give me a chance to justify the figure.
Okay.
Blessed, one thing about you.
Please go ahead.
You are not familiar with figures.
Please go ahead.
So listen, when I speak about figures, you don't know anything about figures.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, in every economy that you hear of, economic policies are not stuck at one place. You need to balance because there are a number of factors that contribute to maybe a decrease in terms of the manufacturing side of any country. So if you see that we may have a challenge in terms of maybe atisina chibage chakakwana tinogona kuita challenge in the next 1 year, you open the borders. That does not defeat the fact that the manufacturing industry of Zimbabwe is on the boom. I tell you at one point, if you wipe Pindam shop, you could see shelf your cooking oil cooking oil from South Africa. Gone today.
The question, Mr. Kanchaya, is you don't want to answer questions.
I don't want to answer questions the way you want.
I asked you a simple.
You don't want me to answer questions.
I asked you a simple
question. Confirm what you think.
I asked you a simple question.
I'm not here to confirm what you want.
I know.
I'm here to respond what I know. And I can place figures.
I invited you fully knowing that you are not here to confirm.
Yes.
But the issue that I'm asking you is very, very simple. Can you please justify your figures of 85%
I am justifying. I cannot justification is not a one sentence. Justification is not one word.
But after your sentence, you have not justified.
No, I have justified. I'm giving you examples. I said at one point,
our shelves were full of... open the border to bring in imported things when you have a capacity to produce 85% of your own needs? That's the question.
Very
Put
good.
differently.
Let me respond. Can I respond?
Yes,
now?
Please.
I am saying to you, there are circumstances. Circumstances are not permanent. They are temporary. Like, for example, we had drought recently. And the honest truth is, we may fail to produce chibage chinokwana vanhu vedu tega locally. What do we need to do? We end up importing. At one point, you had bread going for $2, $2.50, $3 because we're importing maize, wheat from Ukraine. And those are things that we cannot control. But what happened last year but one?
Are you sure we had bread going for $3?
Yeah, at one point, I think it was $2, $2.50, I don't know. But at one point...
You are sure?
Very much sure.
There's never been a time.
No, I'm very sure.
When bread was more than $1.30 in Zimbabwe.
I'm very sure about that. Anyway, let's leave that one.
I think you don't know figures, but anyway.
No, I know figures. I know figures.
Let's progress. Yes.
Now, last year but one, we had bumper wheat harvest. Okay. And it addressed the deficit. And now we are okay. So if I say to you 85% of the goods on our shelves, if we are to go in okay right now, or TM, you will see that bulk of if we have 5 brands of cooking oil in that shop, 4 are Zimbabwe. 4 brands are from Zimbabwe, and only 1 is from South Africa. In terms of figures, how do you place that?
Do you know?
What's that?
Do you know? I want you. I'm not here to answer questions, so I want to put questions to you. Do you know? Are you aware that as you speak about the brands of cooking oil, are you aware that all the crude cooking oil that makes that cooking oil is imported from South Africa? Most of it, in fact, 80% of it, comes from South Africa, even though it is then processed and packaged in Zimbabwe. Are you aware of that?
How does that come to play?
I said, are you aware of that?
No, what's the idea in this? What does that mean? Can you tell me why are you putting this across? In the context of our subject.
The question is, are you aware of that?
I'm saying, how does it come to play? What does it prove? What do you want to try? What's point I
was hoping you answer questions. You'd answer questions.
No,
your thought.
Look,
but not to ask me questions.
Let me respond.
Please do.
Let me.
Yes, go ahead. I prefer that.
We import raw materials. We also export raw materials. Even for you to produce a shirt, you may have cotton, you may have everything, but you may end up importing buttons. My point is, when you say you have resuscitated the manufacturing industry, It does not mean you produce every raw material that is used to produce those things. I said if you go to, 85% of things in the shelf are Zimbabwean produced. They don't sell crude oil in that supermarket. They sell processed cooking oil. And it's written made in Zimbabwe.
Do you know that the reason why that crude oil is being imported is because our agricultural sector is failing to supply sufficiently for our local manufacturers to be able to press oil?
Zimbabweans, I think Zimbabweans will agree with me that at one point we're not even importing crude oil to manufacture cooking oil, to produce cooking oil. At one point,
certainly,
we had a whole shelf of cooking oil, of imported cooking oil. Now, our agricultural sector, I've given you an example of wheat. We were importing wheat from Ukraine and other countries. But this year, I think there's a target of 600,000 hectares to wheat production.
But do you know?
That means we are on the recovery.
Do you know?
And we are
when you say the bumper harvest.
Let me finish. If we have more than 600,000, the record last year, I think the highest harvest was during the days of Ian Smith.
Do you know that year that you are saying you had the bumper harvest? Do you know that the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe was bidding for forex on the auction floor to import wheat into this country?
That's business. We cannot talk about it. We said we are talking about. I speak on the official things.
How does a country?
Do you agree? Do you agree that we had bumper harvest of wheat last year? Are you aware? Are you aware?
Those are the records that I've heard. Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So we agree.
I am asking you, how does a country that is sufficient bumper harvest import? That's the question.
Did they import?
Yes.
How much did they import?
600,000 metric tons of wheat.
How much did we harvest?
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
Because you're the one who's here to answer questions.
You said they imported 600,000.
I'm asking you why. The question is simple. You see, Mr. Kandisha, if you want us to make progress,
don't throw figures when you can't justify them.
No. If you want us to make progress, just face the question. Answer.
Do you know how much wheat? Do you know how much wheat we require?
Just tell me your
facts. Do you know how much wheat we require for a year?
Tell me your facts. Tell me your facts, Mr. Kandisha.
I'm asking a question.
Don't ask me. I'm not here.
But you cannot come here with figures.
I am here.
One-sided figures.
I am here to give you the figures.
No.
So that
how much did we produce?
Are you going to respond to that question?
How much did we produce?
Are you going to respond to that
I want to prove to you that you are lying.
We can move forward if you're not going to respond to that question.
Let's move forward because you can't prove your figures. It's okay.
No, I can. I told you the
How much did we produce?
You tell me.
No, you tell me. You know why?
The question
I want to prove that you are lying.
The question.
Okay, you are lying. They did not import 600,000 tons.
Okay, what did they import?
Less than 100,000.
Oh.
Yes.
According to what?
According to what?
I'm telling you, according to the Grain Millers Association of Zimbabwe.
No, that's
they held a press conference and they said
that's not a fact.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's move forward.
Let's move.
Yes. Some have argued that because of underfunding, our schools and education is losing value. And we can always tell ourselves that we are the highest educated and stuff like that. But our education system, children are just passing through school and they are not passing. They are not. Is that a fact?
I want you to repeat the question, please.
I'm saying because of underfunding, people are not learning adequately and our education system is suffering.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Blessed. I think we need to agree on one thing before I respond. These are your questions, okay? And it seems that you have full knowledge of what you are saying. So that when I respond in terms of interrogating statistics and other things, you'll be able to respond. You won't throw me to the people to say you're talking to the people. I'm now addressing you because this is your question. And the other questions you were saying, some say, some are saying, but now this is entirely your question. Our education system is not dying. It's not on the collapse. If anything, it's on the rise. Because if you are in a country where you have remarkable innovations, if you are opening the manufacturing side and even the mining industry, with your indigenous skills, it means the education system is producing the best. Even if you see the people who are going out of the country, some of them are going there with enough skills. For example, we have nurses that are on demand in the European side. We have doctors that are on demand out there. They are products of our present day education system. And the Education 5.0 that President E.D. Mnangagwa came up with is excellent. An education system that does not only produce a certificate holder, but a skilled person who is not only going out there to look for a job, but who is knowledgeable to start something. So it's a lie to say our education system is underfunded. If there is anything that the government of Zimbabwe makes sure it funds, it's the education system. 2 years ago, if not last year, when these O-level students were registering 5 subjects and above, the government paid half of the registration fee to promote our education. Now we are going into the world of computers. Our schools are now computerized. So that's not a collapse. It's actually a rise and an improvement that is commendable.
You have schools that don't have textbooks. You have schools that actually don't even have infrastructure, like children learn outside. Pole and dagger infrastructure, 44 years after
we have in excess of 12,000 schools in Zimbabwe. You said when I spoke about Acadia Mine, how much does that contribute to the bigger chunk? Of the 12,000 schools, how many do not have infrastructure, blessed?
You tell me.
I don't know. It's you who is telling me about
I'm
the
asking
schools.
you
I don't know of any. So you tell me. I'm not saying they are not there. I said I don't know of any. So you tell me how many of the 12,250 schools that we have in Zimbabwe are lacking infrastructure?
I know quite a number of them.
How many?
I know quite a number of them.
I would say we have done well in the education system.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do, if
how do you justify doing well in the education system when the people who go through the education itself, less than out of every 10 who write exams, 7 fail, according to statistics that has been released by ZimSec?
Okay, well, which when you say it's on the collapse, we need to go back a little bit. Let's say the report was produced last year, or it's the present day report. When we say 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10 don't want to pass. What were the figures then? Because for us to say it's on the, it's collapsing, we need to have a collection of figures. For example, I can tell you this. In from the period 2007, 99 to 2016, I can tell you the number of road accidents. Or let me start from 2013 to 2017. The number of road accidents along Masvingo Road, because the road was bad, as compared to the number of accidents from 2019 to date. So if I say 2013 to 2017, maybe, let's say 50 people died, for example. Mm-hmm. Then I tell you now, the same period of 3 or 4 years or 5 years, 10 people have died. If I say then it was 50 people and today it's 300 people, that's the collapse. So we cannot discuss about the collapse of saying there are 3 out of 10 when we are not in the picture.
Are you happy that only 3 out of every 10 people who wrote exams passed? Are you happy with that?
You know,
you say we are doing well.
You know, when you are doing well,
mm-hmm.
It means you are improving. Doing well does not mean you wake up and you have 10 out of 10. Given the circumstances, given the challenges that we are facing as a country, I think at one point, Zimbabwe yange yadona zvokuti yaifana kungovharwa. But so we are coming from a background iyoyo yatanga tisina chinhu. We are coming from a background yatai importa masyringe ekubaya majekiseni. We are coming from a background yatai importa medical gas. We are coming from a background which at one point people imported bread from Zambia. We are coming from a background isirbo. Yekuti vanhu vaimporta majority juice from South Africa.
And Zanu PF presided over that background.
So, what do you mean here? Yes, Zanu PF presided, then what?
It's still the same Zanu PF that we're talking
That is improving,
about.
Yes. It's the same Zanu PF that is improving, but you must know what contributed. Let me tell you how we lost jobs in this country. Zisco Steel alone, how many people were employed in Zisco Steel? Well, Zisco Steel was closed. We had Olivine, the liver sanctions, obviously.
No.
Sanctions.
Zisco Steel was
sanctions.
Zisco Steel was looted.
And then why was it placed on illegal sanctions?
I said Zisco Steel.
Why was it placed on illegal sanctions? Do you understand how sanctions functions? Do you even know?
Zisco Steel was.
Do you understand? Why was it put on sanctions?
In 1997.
Why was it? You are not here to respond to questions, right? No, don't tell me what to say. Don't tell me what to say. Do you know how sanctions functions?
I'm not here to respond to questions.
Let me respond to you.
Yes.
Let me tell you. When a company is placed under sanctions, they cannot trade. It means they cannot export and they cannot import raw materials.
Zisco Steel in 2022, go and check your records, actually won at the Zimbabwe National Commerce Awards, the biggest exporter of the year. It exported over 4 million United States dollars. You telling me it couldn't export?
Done?
Yes.
Are you done?
Yes, I am.
What was the produce then before sanctions? It was placed on sanctions.
No, you said it couldn't. It couldn't export. I'm telling you it was exporting. So you're not being factual here.
I'm being factual.
Okay, tell me.
Let me explain.
Be factual, yes.
I am saying the number of people that were employed at Zisco Steel reduced after it was imposed on sanctions. People lost jobs. They were in the streets. You go to Liver Brothers, the same happened. It closed. People lost jobs. What I'm talking about here is how people lost jobs because our economy was rendered useless. The manufacturing sector of Zimbabwe, the cash cows that were balancing GDP, were imposed under punitive measures, sanctions, and they could not function. And if you are employing 300 people today, and you reduce the number of people you are now employing, maybe 50 countries, because the market is now limited. If you have been supplying to 100 countries, and some gives you sanctions, just like our diamonds, and you have friends, for example, you have Chinese alone, maybe in Russia, buying from Zisco Steel. But we used it to have a broader market because of sanctions. Other, mari dzaka free squads. Every big company, to eat my offshore accounts, benga mari, securities for its dealings. And it was affected.
The Zimbabwe independent in 1997 and also in 2000, it wrote a series of stories of corruption where senior government officials were looting Zisco Steel dry. Are you aware of that?
I'm aware that Zisco Steel was placed under sanctions.
Are you aware of the question that I've put?
I am aware that Zisco Steel was placed under sanctions.
That top Zanu PF officials actually took millions and millions.
The newspaper is just like you. This newspaper. I can quote Herald for you. And you will only say the Herald speaks for the government.
No, I will not say that. So that would be your response. I'm not going to challenge your response.
This is not official.
Do you know that ESA Africa Holdings in 2020 wanted to invest 750 million to revive Zisco Steel, and owing to corruption at that particular time, ESA was forced to abandon that deal.
That is Zimbabwe Independent.
No, this is not the Zimbabwe Independent. This is from ESA itself.
We don't care. We don't know what they wanted to achieve by that. The facts that we follow are things that are official. If you go to the document, the Zidera document, you see that Zisco Steel is on sanctions. Not a newspaper. We cannot quote a newspaper.
Are you aware that an independent commission of this country, the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, has said that every single year Zimbabwe loses over 1 billion United States dollars to corruption?
Then?
Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am. So?
Are you aware? What would you then say?
How is that related to Zisco Steel?
I'm asking you a question. How would you push back if someone says, therefore, that sanctions are not the biggest problem in Zimbabwe, but corruption?
Oh, thank you so much. I will tell you the corruption statistics of development countries. Just to show you that there is no economy that runs free of corruption. And corruption can only be noticeable or can come to play where you have limited space of trade. There's high levels of corruption in America, corruption in Britain, corruption in South Africa. These are countries that we call developed. if Zimbabwe was allowed to trade freely, as was the situation then, where you have your financial institutions not placed under any form of sanctions, like we ended up having Barclays Bank made to pay millions of dollars for operating in this environment. If you have an environment that is open, an environment that is not limiting, free trade area, the one that the African Union is vying for, you will not talk about corruption. But because we're isolated, and when we are isolated, remember the agenda, the idea to isolate Zimbabwe was there to make its economy shrink and scream. And when the economy shrinks and when the economy screams, we look at each other in the eye and say, we've lost 1 billion. Because of this 1 billion, we could have done this. I can only agree.
Do you know how much it would cost this country every year to run our hospitals very efficiently?
Tell me.
50 million United States dollars.
Okay, so?
And if you're losing 1 billion per year.
So are you saying by that?
So you are telling me it's all right for us to lose 1 billion?
Who said it's all right? You
are
comparing corruption. You are comparing sanctions and corruption.
Yes.
And I'm taking you through. If these guys knew very well that sanctions do not cripple an economy, they could not have imposed them upon us.
The President Emerson Mnangagwa said, regardless of the sanctions, we have not been affected. We are moving on. Are you saying he was lying?
No, he never lied.
What he meant is our economy is not screaming.
Listen to what he meant. With the sanctions, we are building our country.
So we are
the
not
best
screaming.
differs. Listen, you said don't scream about sanctions. Sanctions. You never said the sanctions are to affect. But one sanctions, you are now confined, you are isolated. Can you sit back, relax, and say, I'm under sanctions, so I can't do anything? You look for other avenues. But the pace at which the growth of Zimbabwe was projected, you can't affect sanctions.
What is, in your view, to what extent has corruption affected the progress of Zimbabwe in development?
Well, corruption always affects at any institution. But what has brought Zimbabwe to the current state are illegal sanctions.
The question is simple, Mr. Kundisha. To what extent do you think corruption has affected?
To what extent? Do you want figures?
You didn't give figures when you spoke about
when you say to what extent, do you want figures or you want an analysis?
Yes.
In analysis.
Yes.
That's why I've said corruption is a long history of affecting growth of any organization.
I said Zimbabwe. The question is on Zimbabwe.
I'm saying corruption.
When you're talking about sanctions, you're very clear. You answered succinctly, clear. I'm asking you about corruption.
But I'm responding.
You're not.
No, I'm responding. But I'm not responding the way you want.
No, I asked you a specific question. It's just like if I say, Mr. Kandishaya, what jacket am I wearing? And then you say, maybe if you had taken it from India, it could be green.
So what do you want me to say? You want me to give you a figure?
No, an analysis on Zimbabwe.
Yes, this is what I'm giving. An analysis is not one word.
Okay.
No, don't say not on companies. Because it is the companies that develops an economy. Because they are the economy.
Recently, the Zanu PF Youth League released a statement that was talking about addressing issues around corruption and addressing issues around one weakness. Chivhayo.
Zanu PF released a statement that was talking about corruption.
Zanu PF Youth League.
No.
It was not talking about corruption. What was it talking about?
No, you tell me. Maybe you saw what I did.
You are in the Youth League.
The only statement that I know was against name dropping.
Okay.
Where did you see that spoke about corruption? Where is it? Maybe somebody else released it.
You were not.
The national executive is not aware.
You're not worried about the allegations of corruption around Wikinel. You're worried about
released by Zanu PF.
No, I'm asking a question.
Released about it. Look, you gave a reference.
I heard you. I heard you clearly. Now I'm asking you a different question.
What is the question?
I'm asking you that you said your statement was about name dropping.
I'm correcting you.
Yes, I hear you.
Are you corrected?
I am corrected.
Good.
Yes.
Then you ask your question.
Yes, I'm asking.
A corrected question.
No, I'm asking a question going forward. Right? You said Zanu PF Youth League was concerned about name dropping.
No, I never said it was
that
concerned.
That is the
don't
statement.
Put words in my mouth.
Okay. You released a statement only on name dropping.
Not only. We released a statement on name dropping. Not only, remove only.
Okay.
Our statement
you released
was
a statement on
name dropping, yes.
Yet around that name dropping were allegations, serious allegations of corruption. Were you, as the Youth League,
We don't deal with allegations.
What do you do with?
As the Youth League, we work with what's there, evidence that we have. Name dropping issue is something which is factual, which is there. We cannot talk about allegations. It's very dangerous to speak about allegations.
You say it's factual. Name dropping is something that is there. Wikinel Chivhayo himself, who is accused of name dropping in that audio, says that audio is not his. It was manufactured. So that's not a fact, is it?
It is a fact from our standpoint, not from a standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We have the facts that it's his voice. That's why we produced that later. So we know it's his voice. He knows it's his voice. You know it's not his voice because he said it's not.
No, I don't know. I'm asking.
It's his voice. We know that. We are clear.
He
knows it's his voice as well.
Have you verified this?
I cannot tell you what we did, but what I can tell you is
I don't want you to tell me what you did. I'm asking
he's
you
he's one person who believes in the legal system of this country. If we lied, you know what he could have done. Zanu PF Youth League could have been sued by now. So it's his voice. Yes.
Did you verify? That was just my question. I don't want to know how you verified. I don't want to know how you verified, but did you verify?
Our press statement is authentic. It's addressing a real issue. Yes.
Right. So if you are clear that it is his voice, are you not worried about the other things that were spoken about in that? The issue around getting tenders,
You know, when you saw the press, the statement by Zaki,
yes,
as the vanguard of the party, we played our part because the vanguard of the party, we detect what we see as threats to the existence of our party and to the dignity of our leader, the president. And we defend President Mnangagwa. That is our part. On other issues that were raised, that's Zaki to do. We don't do the one size fits all. We are not everything. We have the police in that country. We have the judicial system. We have Zaki. What we did was to address what we agreed as the national executive. This is wrong. We need to address it, and we did. What was the next thing? Zaki is coming, and Zaki is not talking about name dropping. Can I want a statement now? The police will come in. Judiciary is also what we stand against. Is name dropping because we have evidence. Zaki did not even say no, Akaba or Akaita corruption. They're investigation. So we cannot speak on things that are under investigation. If we ask it tomorrow to say, authenticate what we said in terms of corruption, what will we say? We are not legally entitled to do that.
So in according to you, as you are speaking, issues around name dropping are the ones that affect the president and his dignity. Does corruption affect him? This is a question. Does corruption affect the standing of the president and his dignity?
I can only respond an issue that you have referenced on the question, the statement that we produced.
No, I asked a clear question. Does corruption affect the reputation and standing, good standing of the president?
Corruption affects development in any country. It affects the development. It does not affect the president. It affects the development of the country. And corruption, kana pachifana kutengwa mutsvairo wedhora pakatengwa urikunzi ndewe $1,000, it does not affect the president.
My question to you is clear because you said you defend. You didn't say you defend the country, because if you had said you defend the country, I was going to put the question to you. But you say you defend the president.
Yes.
So I am saying, as people who defend the president, are you not worried that people who are accused of corruption are close to
We don't
president?
deal with accusations. I've responded to you.
No, the person...
We don't... No!
Because you said, clearly you...
Did you hear the voice note of corruption?
Yes.
The voice note of corruption?
Yes.
You have it?
Yes, where you're saying to know pure matenda.
No, you send us. You send us the voice about corruption.
It's the one you addressed.
Listen.
It's the one you addressed in here.
No.
It's the one that
Did you hear the voice note of corruption?
There is only one.
When one says Ndopu attender, where is corruption? Pakupu attender.
That's corruption.
Corruption.
That is corruption. Favoritism is a form of corruption.
No. He's not the only one who gets tenders in this country.
Because he's close to the president.
I said there is not the only one who gets tenders in this country. Getting a tender does not matter whether or Mzukuru, whether or Ambuya, or Mwana Chirumuto. Even a foreigner can get a tender. Where is corruption? That's him. That's what we condemned. I cannot respond on behalf of him. That was so wrong. That's what we addressed in our presser.
Is that not a clear admission of corruption? You are addressing that issue, yes.
Who admitted it? The president?
No, not the president. The person who was speaking, as you said.
I cannot respond on his behalf. What we respond against is name dropping, full stop.
Would I say, if I say, what would be your pushback? If I say that you are not worried about corruption, you are worried about power and the presidency.
I just know it's you, blessed, we have said it. I don't have any problem with it. I will say it's okay. Because I know you. I will simply say it's okay. What else am I supposed to say?
Are you worried about corruption?
What do you mean by worried?
Are you worried about the effect of corruption?
What do you mean about worried?
Exactly that.
I cannot be worried about corruption.
Okay.
I cannot be worried. In that context, does worry solve any problem? If there is corruption, we encourage our investigative arms to do their work. I cannot just be worried.
At one point, the Youth League stood up and condemned corruption.
Condemned what they thought was corruption according to them. And I cannot respond for an outgoing executive. They had their facts. You could have, I think you invited them and they responded for themselves. Why would I respond for them? Yeah.
But now this Youth League does not talk about corruption, does it?
We did not issue a statement to do with corruption, but name dropping.
I hear that. And I'm
clear. And the Youth League then did not talk about name dropping. Look, do not compare us. These are different scenarios. I am saying...
It's still the same organization.
No, we are not the same people.
Yeah, but same organization.
We are not the same people.
Organization.
We are not the same people. That was not a position. That's why there was no presser. There was no collective press statement. Ours is a collective. That's why I'm defending it. I'm not the one who wrote it. But those were our ideas to say we have agreed on that one. And on that one, there were 2-3 people. So I cannot respond for individual.
2-3. There was the entire executive.
No.
I actually covered it. I actually covered.
Was Togarepi there?
Togarepi?
Was Togarepi there?
No, he was not.
So it was not an entire.
There were, but
was Togarepi there?
Okay, except Togarepi, the youth executive.
So it was not an entire. Ours had everyone on board. Tinoma Chakaire, Johnny Paraza to the last person, number 44. And when they did their presser at Media Center, there were only 2.
No. They did their first presser at Zanu PF headquarters.
It was not an entire executive.
They did their presser
at was Zanu not, PF in as much as they did it there. Yeah. That's why they were given a warning. Because it was not in the resolution. Our presser is part of the resolutions of the National Executive.
Okay. So the National Executive or the Executive of Zanu PF does not talk about corruption?
I don't know.
It's a question.
I don't know about that. I know of the presser that we released. Okay. When it comes time where we feel there is corruption and we have reasonable facts that a crime was committed, we raise our voices and engage responsible arms to carry out an investigation. We don't just say it because people in the streets are saying it. We are different.
There has been just the Triple C led by Welshman just recently had a press conference and said it's willing to engage with Zanu PF because they feel that the manner in which elections are run in this country are dubious, and they quoted various local and international observer missions. Do you think that there's scope for those kind of statements?
They are the opposition, and the best thing that they can do is to oppose. But I'm happy that they are willing to engage. If they are willing to engage, maybe certain things that they think are not going the right way. The best way forward is an engagement and dialogue. So we cannot blame the opposition for raising issues when it's doing its job. If you ask me about that, I will say everything is okay.
Do you think everything is okay?
No, not that I don't. I think everything is okay, but everything is okay.
You do not see any issues that need to be changed, in your view?
No. There are no issues that need to be changed, but democracy is not something stagnant. It grows, it develops.
Do you think it's a democratic country where a person like Kandishaya can threaten the property of another, like approaching on his gods and stuff like that, and nothing happens to him?
Come again?
Is it a democracy?
When what? When an individual does what?
Can threaten private property, that of
in the criminal
police do nothing about
in the Criminal Codification Act, what crime is that?
If you threaten someone in the
if I say nduwa story mbudzi dzako, inonzi chimo zvacho.
I'm not a police officer.
You see now, haisi moso. Yangufana nekuti tikubvisa like zvaitwa na Chamisa zvokuti Mnangagwa anenge asipo in 5 months. Inonzi chimo zvacho. Yasina kusungirwa. Because the president is still there. So if I say ndikuamba story mbudzi the government, because I have my facts and now evidence, inotaura kuti mbudzi idzi it's a scheme yaifanira kuti benefit vamwe, and I visit the area and the people from that area confirms not ndikuya kuzotora ndoregedza. Inonzi chimo zvacho.
Why did you do that?
Inonzi chimo. So wazona daisi moso. So it's a democracy, because ndini ndakataura, it's not the party, it's not the government. Ndini ndichiudza hope akazvinzwa and he knows that I was correct. Sa police yaifana kundisungana mhosva yei handa kusvika mba pake yaindisungana mhosva yei.
Why did you say that?
Because kana wapiwa zvinhu nehurumende, if it's a person project, you must pass on, and I have evidence that it was a person project, and he knows that, and he did not deny.
He denied it.
He never denied.
He denied. In fact, he put. In fact, Chivhayo put evidence on his Twitter handle of goats that he bought.
Of how many goats? So you mean he bought the goats and only dzakaisa idzodzo ndombudzi dzake dzese?
Maybe you can help me here. Is a goat like a cell phone that if you buy one it remains one?
Okay, thank you so much. So kana ukatenga mbudzi yako 1 woisa pamba, kana dza 10 ndoya ndichikuudza inini kuti dzimwe 5 idzi it's a person project, unozoramba sei? Especially wodhara uzawusiri muridzi wembudzi. Zvandakudze zvinozoramba sei kuti ane dzaakapiwa nehurumende, and there is evidence even ikoko kune vanorimisa vacho yekuti takampa mbudzi. Unozoramba sei?
So it was a person project.
Yes.
And government has failed to do anything about it. Does that affect you?
Yes, it does.
This is an incompetent government that comes up with a person project and fails.
Where are you getting the incompetent thing?
Because if it is a person project and they give someone and there's no person effect, and that government folds its hands, and up to now
how does that make it incompetent?
Is that not incompetent?
How does that make a government incompetent?
It does, in my view.
Yeah, if it's your view, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's your view now. Am I supposed to respond to your view?
Yes, please do.
Then it becomes my interview. You will be Kandishaya in Dar.
You respond. I give the views.
No, you give questions, not views.
It's a view.
No, I cannot respond to views. That's your view, and you have admittedly said so.
Mm-hmm.
So I will not respond to your view.
In your view,
yes.
In your view, what do you think that is? Where a government comes up with a project and fails to implement it in the manner that it said it should?
It's dishonest of the beneficiary.
And the government is clean?
Very much clean.
Clean? Is it clean on that?
Very much clean.
If a government or any business extends a loan and the loan is not paid back, and
who is not honest?
And the
problem is that.
But these are taxpayers' funds, aren't they?
They are. So.
And is it not the duty of government to protect the taxpayers?
It is your duty as a citizen of Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm. To do self-help.
Yes.
So if government extends a loan, I should go and repossess it, even if I'm not part of that transaction.
It's okay if you are as responsible as that.
Your conscience is clear? Very
much.
Amazing. Good. Now, Kandishaya,
yes.
As we close, what is it that you think the young people can look at and emulate going forward, and what they can get out of this country, the political party, and the future?
You know, from Zanu PF, young people must know that they are at the center of the heart of Zanu PF. Since days immemorial, during the liberation struggle, upon attaining independence to this day. Young people must be motivated by the fact that the present day leaders were at one point young persons. I think the entirety of the leadership of the present day, Vangarma youth, one vice president, one national chair, my ministers are now, and they must be motivated by the fact that the president has appointed youthful ministers, youthful board members, youthful chief executive officers, youthful general managers. There are youthful appointments that are being made on daily basis. That alone is a clear sign that Zanu PF has people at heart. Even establishment of Empower Bank, a bank that is there specifically to grant loans to the youths. The introduction of the youth quarter in parliament, where we have 10 youthful members of parliament who qualifies to be MPs just by being under 35 years of age. There is also that quota in the councils. It means that there is a future of young people in Zimbabwe under the able leadership of President Mnangagwa, under the governance of Zanu PF.
Amazing, Mama. Thank you very much, Mr. Kandishaya, for coming through. Here on this program, we believe that we need to talk to each other and not through each other.
Yeah.
And we believe that everyone must be heard. When you sit on this chair, we would ask you the uncomfortable questions and we would put you to the test so that you defend your position as you have it, and also sell your ideas to the people that view this show, who benefit from the wisdom of our guests. And we believe that this is the platform where everyone should be heard. And this is the free talk. We talk freely here. That's the Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. And I was in conversation with Kandishaya, the Zanu PF political commissar, and a good friend of mine. We're going to have drinks after this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my brother.
You're
and
welcome.
Wish you the best in your journey.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Chona ika saidanyika